Hezbollah's doing with the rocket firing, is that a war crime then?
Well,
if any civilian, well, I put the argument back to you. If any civilians get hit by rocket fire from Hezbollah, does that make it a war crime? What they're doing?
Well, it's not about approving or disapproving this modus operandi.
Well, you disapproved of Israel, so you called it a war crime.
What I'm saying is that we have to go to the root causes. The root causes is what Israel have been doing in Gaza, and the root causes is decade-long behavior against Lebanon that has led to what Hezbollah is today. We have to stop dealing with the symptoms and for once start dealing with the root causes. The root causes being Israeli occupation, the root causes being Israeli denial of statehood for the Palestinians, the root causes being 22 years of Israeli occupation to Lebanon and continuous occupation of parts of Lebanese territory. So we need to address that and stop scapegoating groups here and there and stop scapegoating the world. If it's not Hezbollah, then it's Hamas. If it's not Hamas, then it's the United Nations, bashing the United Nations. If it's not the United Nations, then bashing the UK government because the UK government enforced an arms sale ban on some arms to Israel. This paranoid behavior needs to stop, and once for all we should address the root causes of the problems in our region, which is occupation, which is the lack of implementation of Security Council resolution. That is the roadmap. Otherwise, we shouldn't be surprised that people are taking things in their hands. When law is not enforced, people will start in the street. If you don't enforce law, people will start taking things in their hands. And that's what we're seeing. It's not about approving or disapproving these models, but we need to understand them in order to deal with them. Coercion and violence will lead nowhere, and violence begets violence. And I think we have a current Israeli government which finds in its interest in putting its country in a continual state of war as a way to turn off all the risks that are inside the coalition, or as a way to keep the coalition in office. Because the moment they stop, they would fall. They would start facing accountability for not being able to achieve their objective. Where are the hostages? What about eradicating Hamas? What about severing Hezbollah? Hezbollah will retaliate and we will engage in this race to the bottom. That's why we should stop it. We should go back to United Nations. We have this 1701 Security Council resolution. We have always said in the Lebanese government, we are ready to look into it and address all concerns. But it's falling on deaf ears in Israel. Frankly, peers, it's a warmongering government.
You're very condemnatory of Israel, and I understand that. Are you as condemnatory of the violence perpetrated by Hezbollah?
Hezbollah did not start this violence, Piers. As I said, we have to go back to the root causes. Hezbollah?
But you can say they didn't start it in your argument.
No, it's a statement of fact.
But you can still condemn the violence, can't you?
Well, I condemn any violence in general, but Hezbollah did not start this fight.
But you do condemn Hezbollah's violence.
He did not resort to violence. Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese social fabric. Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese social fabric. Right. They have their modus operandi. Some in Lebanon agree with it, some disagree.
But what do you think?
Well, I think at some point down the line, we will need to address this unconventional situation. But Israel, frankly, for decades now, has not been giving us a serene moment to address this unconventional situation.